Alright, in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to put in a brass barrel with Gregorio Mara's new detent. I've already got all the screws pretty much undone. Just take all your pins out and then your slide will come up and off. Oh, there goes a screw. And your slide will come out. Just set that aside. Which one is this? Okay. So, just pop this one out. Pop this out. I've already taken these screws out. So here I'll just go pry this off. So we got that piece off. Now, here's the brass barrel. This here piece, it's a Gorilla Tape. It locks the barrel from coming out. And this little piece on the end, there's a little detent kind of in the shell that goes in there and locks it in, so it doesn't pull forward. And it keeps this into the detent and the breech where it's supposed to be. And this little edge here kind of keeps the barrel stabilized. Keeps it nice and straight in your barrel. But here's the detent from Gregorio Mara. Yeah, I don't know what he made it. He's got a 3D printed somewhere, but you have to put a flare on the barrel. I'm not sure how well you guys can see that, but if you can see, it is kind of flared out. Anyways, that's just to ensure that the steel ball, when it gets launched, it doesn't hit the tip and bend the barrel. That's what happens in the stock barrel. Once your detent goes, the steel balls and larger balls will start to damage this and bend it. And this is what the old barrel looks like, and that's the old cheap rubber detent. This thing literally just blows apart in pieces. It shoots out of your barrel. So yeah, once this happens, you can either use you have to use something like this, one of Greg's detents. So yeah, so the brass is a little bit thinner than that alloy tube. The alloy tube's got the little divots in the end, so, but anyways, I put the flare on it, and then this tape, you can see where it catches into the detent. Like that. And then when I put the clamshell back on, it kind of just a crack. It won't. You have to squeeze it really hard. So instead, I just grabbed the vice grips and just lightly clamp it down so it's pinched shut, and then I put the screws in. But yeah, you can have this section out here of the barrel as long as you want, but this is what you have to do to mount it, because in the shell right there at the tip, there's a little plastic rim that's going to go in between around this, and it's going to lock that from coming out. So yeah, once you get your detent on, yeah, just put her back in. It's a nice tight fit in there, especially once you get the clamshell. See, there's no wiggle, so it's not going anywhere. You're not going to lose any pressure. Yeah. get our shell back on here. Okay. I always try to make a quick video and something goes up. Okay. Oh, I see. It was this piece. Wasn't lined up. Okay. There we go. This little piece here was twisted, so it wasn't coming through the slot. Alright, so... Okay, the vice clamps actually compressed it really tight. So if you can see there, it's just a little wee crack. I might be able to squeeze that with my hands while I put in the screw. Let me try this. Alright, looks good. Okay, now I just put the rest of these guys in. Doesn't take long. These are actually shorter than the HDR ones. Alrighty, so we got the screws in. Yeah, this is what I use to knock the pins out. It's just a little drill bit. Little 1/16 drill bit. Yeah, and okay. For the steel balls, this barrel specifically for the larger 8.4 millimeter steel balls, or the larger Home Defense 24 aluminum balls. Now what we got here is we got a couple magnets. Stupid me, I went and put the magnet on and glued it on with the Gorilla Glue, and I locked a little screw back there, so I had to get a Dremel and grind around it so I can get that screw back out. Otherwise it'd be permanent, or I'd have to rip the whole magnet off. Instead of ripping the magnet off and re-gluing it, I just picked at it with a Dremel. And then this side, I cut that piece off and grinded it. Because right here in this chamber, the balls like to go up. And if the magnet's back here, I notice it'll pull the ball back off out of the track, because up on the top of the shell, when the ball goes up, there's like a little indent that holds the ball in place, kind of. It's like a minuscule, weak-ass indent, or sorry, detent, before the rubber here. But what happens is the magnets can pull it back, and then it leaves a little opening underneath here, so the second ball in the breech comes up a little bit. And then when you pull the trigger, that gate that goes across, that stops the next balls from going up and kind of makes the seal, that gets stuck onto the ball, the second bearing, and then it won't pass. So naturally you get a jam. But what I did was I moved the magnet on my last setup. That's what was happening. So I took the magnet and I pushed it over to the front, to right beside, as close to the breech as I can get it, as close to that Greg's detent in there. And that way, when the ball goes straight up, it stays right here, and then the second one comes into it, and it can't move. So, same thing with on this other side. Notice how it's only a half a magnet? I got it pushed closer to the barrel. That way, the ball won't come up and get knocked by the other ball. By the second ball won't knock it back behind the breech. I noticed that's what happened, because when you look down the barrel, you could see the next ball coming up in front of it slightly. So, I knew that that's what's causing the jam-ups. But anyways, when I put all the ball bearings in this, before even shooting it, you can sit there and pull the trigger, bang, 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 and it's nice and fluid. No jam-ups, nothing. So, you know when that gas is up, they're going to fire with no jams. I'll be testing this tomorrow. But, yeah, also I installed an RMS mini red dot. Now I got the mounting plate for it, for the Glock, but I had to modify it. I had to grind out a little slot right here, so that way it doesn't shake and jiggle. It's nice and stable. I'll explain that in another video, but there's the little bolt that's holding it in, and the slot that comes in the mount, it's actually grinded down into the plastic and then bolted through. That way it can't jiggle. But yeah, I'll show another. That's pretty easy. I'll show a video on that too. But yeah, pretty much that's it. You just put it back in. Oh, before I forget my spring. And then the spring goes in. This goes up over the top. There we go. Over and down, and then you just put your pins back in now. And yeah, that's how you install the brass barrel. We're going to do some testing on it tomorrow, and then I'll post the results for it. But this is how I've done it with my rifle setups, and now that I've figured out these magnets and how not to get the ball to roll back towards the bolt, because when that happens, the next ball comes up and dislodges in front of the other one slightly, and then that gate door won't shut, so it causes the trigger to jam up naturally. That gate moves and with the trigger. At the same time you move the trigger, it's going forward, and then when you let go of the trigger, it comes back and lets the next ball up into the chamber. Yeah, I think I pretty much covered everything. Oh, and for the flare, this is the old barrel. When I put the suppressor on it, I had to take this one out and redo it, because there's a little grub screw with a point on the tip of it that goes into the barrel. I'm not sure if you guys can see down there, but it's in there. Anyways, what happens was when I put the screw on, not thinking of it, and then I caused that little indent right in there. See it there by my finger here? So when when the ball came into the barrel, like if it rolled one down, it'll stop right here. A little slight little push would, well, it was kind of enough push to hinder FPS. I took it out and I reworked it, and now the balls are pretty good, but just for the hell of it, I'll keep this as a spare or something, but just for the hell of it, I went and put a new one on. So this is just a 10-inch barrel, so is that one. And yeah, oh, also for that flare, you can see on here as well, I got the tip, there's a flare on the tip, so that way there's no chance of the ball, when it shoots, hitting the tip, the edge. I've damaged a couple HDPs of doing that. But yeah, all I basically did was I took this alignment reamer and I put it in here with some oil and I spun it backwards. If you spin it forward, you just fucking cut it. So I spun it backwards where there's no cut on the blade, and it just, from the heat and the friction, I put this end up against the wall, and with the oil, I just poured silicone oil in because I had it handy. And then boom, I just spun this like that and pressed in really hard. Yeah, if you don't use the oil, it'll get hot and it'll smoke and it'll smell like shit. But yeah, put the oil in and it'll widen up your barrel. I find that's key to doing this, going into that detent. And yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Anyways, stay safe, take care, and have a good one, guys.